What is up? It's Mr. P. NIO CEO just wrote an internal letter to all of NIO's employees. Today we are going to break it down and explain some of the changes that acted super fast and what's going on here in China. So here we go. He says, as we welcome the year of 2023, I would like to wish everyone a wonderful new year. And also for Mr. P as well, wish you guys a wonderful new year. In the past month, as the Omicron variant spreads rapidly across China, many colleagues have been infected and the virus has taken a toll on people's health and way of life. Despite these challenges, everyone still tried to work in various ways to ensure smooth progress in terms of R&D, supply chain, production, delivery, user service, NIO Day 2022, and many other activities. Yes, people have worked at home. We're carrying on strong. I would like to thank everyone for working diligently during this difficult time and hope affected colleagues will get well soon. 2022 is an unusual year. The COVID pandemic and emergency events exerted impacts that exceeded everyone's expectations and disrupted our original pace and plan, especially in April when Shanghai was hit hard by those lockdowns. And I also had videos back then telling people about it. But the past is the past. Even in the face of a myriad of challenges, we still made positive strides. In 2022, we delivered 122,486 vehicles, increasing by 34% year over year. Yes, they did tremendously well this year despite the COVID. We kicked off the delivery of 3 new vehicles based on NT 2.0, namely the ET7, ES7, and ET5. We started production in factory number 2 and fulfilled the infrastructure building targets such as NIO houses, power swap stations, NIO service centers. We successfully held NIO Berlin and built up local teams in 5 European countries. Yes, they've been deploying swap stations like crazy. And also, of course, NIO houses and NIO service centers. And a lot of these service centers are now directly owned by NIO, so that's also very nice. We pushed forward with our new strategic businesses according to plan. We successfully listed on HKEX and SGX. During this turbulent year, there have been so many touching and unforgettable moments and stories. Thank you all for the full dedication and joint efforts. Guys, William Li is a very humble guy. He's a very nice guy. You know, despite him being like quite rich, he still rents a super cheap apartment in Shanghai, like your typical economy level like apartment. So nothing fancy. He doesn't buy like an apartment. And also he takes the high-speed rail instead of like booking private jet and wasting investors' money. So he's a very humble guy. And of course in Beijing, where he's at, I'm also at Beijing. That's where his home is, his wife and family. So you can tell he's a very humble guy that doesn't overspend on exuberant stuff. In 2022, there are many pains and gains. However, it should be clearly recognized that many peers outperformed us in the same period. That is also correct. Many of NIO's competitors have outperformed NIO, and we can't hide from that. Our delivery volume growth fell behind that of the overall smart EV market in China. When tackling supply chain volatilities, many companies responded more swiftly and efficiently in the face of demand fluctuations. The inertia was too strong to make timely adjustments and avoid unnecessary losses. So of course, this is an area of improvement that he's identified, and of course in the future, you know, this is going to be avoided as much as they can. The software and hardware quality issues before and after the new vehicle launch affected the reputation and word of mouth of our products. So some of the NT 2.0 cars, some of the ET5s, not all of them, most of them are fine. Some of them have had problems. And of course, if you have any problems with your NIO, they'll happily fix it for you. So that's fine. But NT 2.0 products have seen a lot more problems than the usual NT 1.0 products. The test vehicle accident and data leakage incident sounded the alarm for us to enhance internal control and management. Guys, there's so much information in that one sentence. So right after the test vehicle accident, if you guys don't know, the ET7 test vehicle fell from the 3rd floor, and it wasn't NIO's fault, it was the driver's fault. He shifted into the wrong gear. My deepest condolences to him. But right after that, NIO was able to launch a software update. And right now, in my NIO, what we see is if I shift gears, like I put the car into drive, the heads-up display will flash a D, will show you you're in drive mode, or reverse, also as well reverse. And also the center console, the center display, will also have big arrows pointing if you're going drive, forward, and if you're reverse, backwards. So of course they've improved on that aspect, and this is definitely not going to happen again. Probably not going to happen again. And also, the data leakage incident. Notice how he said enhance internal control and management. When this data leak incident happened, the NIO manager, the NIO owner of 23 NIOs, and we were speculating, we were discussing about this, and the NIO manager looked at the actual data leak itself and said that is an admin access page. So if it was some sort of hacker, it would probably be like an Excel sheet, but instead, this is like the admin page that the NIO manager also has access to. So he was speculating that this was probably an inside job. So, for example, someone might have the logins to NIO's database and then was able to log in and then retrieve all this data. So this, I'm not saying it definitely is an inside job, but it probably most likely is. Some disgruntled employee probably got fired, still has the login and access login details and took the data. So guys, don't worry, it's not anything wrong with the security of the whole entire database. There's nothing wrong with that. So this pretty much proves it's not security problems. Otherwise, you would say we would need to work on security, right? So that's very nice. Moving on. We set up a user satisfaction feedback mechanism, but the problem-solving speed still fell greatly short of user expectations. That is also very true. Whenever we have some sort of complaints, we share it in the NIO app, or you have all these surveys, you share it, but nothing gets done. And if you want something to get done, you actually just tell the management, you tell the upper guys. Like for me, personally, back when NIO was really slow with the English operating systems, even on the first-gen vehicles. And people were complaining all the time. We were complaining with NIO, and we're all in the surveys and everything. We were telling them how we need English operating system here in China, but nothing happened. But I told Michael Pu, which is also the general manager of NIO in Beijing, and he was able to get the information to the right people. And right then, in the next software update, we got English OS. So that's very, very amazing that he can do that. But also, it shows that a lot of these user feedback, which is very important, isn't being implemented or taken seriously, which is kind of disappointing. But of course, they're going to work on that. The organization and team expanded too quickly in the past year, while the internal communications efficiency was in dire need of improvement. The digital management system could not effectively support new business needs and become the bottleneck of business development. Ooh, that's something new for me as well. External environment and pressure should not be the reason for us to invade our own problems. We could have and should have done better. Of course, there's always room for improvement. Great companies can turn challenges into opportunities and build their own competitive strengths under pressure. The competition for smart EV is now in the later stage of the qualifying round. We have to perform exceptionally well to be able to enter the final round. Guys, this is something that I've been echoing in my channel as well. There's so much competition now. Every single week you see some new gunslinger EV that comes into town, and you're like, who the hell is that guy? Right? But wait a second, he has that feature? Holy smokes, we don't even have that feature. So there's always some new guy that comes in town, and there's so many EVs. It's crazy. It's almost impossible to keep track of it. And a few guys that you guys should absolutely keep an eye out for. You got your eyes on that guy. One of them is Feifan R7. Feifan R7. So this Feifan, also called Rising Auto, they're also, their cars, the R7, also has LiDAR, also has battery swap. Parent company of that company is SAIC. And SAIC, if you guys know, is the biggest auto manufacturer in China. So they got pretty big backing. And also, of course, BYD has so much technological innovations, and they're absolutely swiping Tesla off the floor. So definitely it's an intense battle forward. Tell you, there's a secret method that NIO can just swing out its gun and one shot, take out all these other gunslinger dudes. And if you want to see that, that's going to be my next video. I'm going to talk to you about how NIO can completely wipe out Tesla and all these other guys by just doing one thing. But that's for the next video. We have to get out of the woods of 2022 as quickly as possible. Take a deep breath, stand our ground, keep a sense of urgency, and get to work in an agile and efficient mode to embrace even more fierce competition in the next round. Yes, everybody now has LiDAR. man. I mean, like, LiDAR is nothing special now. And just the R7 and a lot of other guys are also doing battery swap as well. So even though NIO has the first movers advantage for battery swap, a lot of these other guys are also doing battery swap. They also have LiDAR. They also have competitive pricing. They also have like very good software. They also have very good hardware as well. So the road is very, very competitive, and NIO has to stay ahead. We need to be fully prepared for the difficulties ahead in 2023 or for an even longer period. People need time to recover from the COVID pandemic, while the economy and consumer confidence also require a relatively long process to restore. And that is correct. I'm seeing here in restaurants, like back when we had lockdowns, people felt safe to dine in, and restaurant business was like chugging along, barely chugging along. But now, after reopening, some of these restaurants, they find that customers are scared to dine in. So a lot of these weaker businesses are just dying off. And you're seeing a lot of that happen. So it's going to take some time for consumer confidence to restore, like he said. Consequently, the premium vehicle market will take a hit. In particular, the anti-globalization trend is unlikely to turn the tide, which will bring serious impediments to our global market entry efforts. So I've talked a lot about this in my previous video, where NIO's ex-PR, Ian, he talked about a lot of these things affecting the economy and NIO in general. You guys should go watch that if you haven't already seen it. But also here in this sentence, he says the anti-globalization trend. Well, what he means by that is more like the made in China stereotype. Like, I know back in 2000s, the made in China stereotype was like, oh crap, this thing's from China, made in China, probably means poor quality. But, now in 2022, 2023, you can see that with NIO, their products are super high quality, really good materials, full aluminum frame body, torsional strength is double that of a Tesla. So their cars are really good quality, right? But can it escape that stereotype, right? Can people accept that brand? And even like for me, my father-in-law, my wife's father, criticized me for buying a NIO. Why? He said, why would you spend that much for a Chinese vehicle? For a Chinese EV in particular? Go buy a Tesla. So there's still a lot of work to be done. And I want to ask you guys, do you guys still have that stereotype? Do you guys still have that, oh, it's made in China, the quality is bad kind of stereotype? Or would you happily embrace products made from China right now? And I know this is like a new age. It's very different from 2000. So I want to know your opinion. Comment down below. Moving on. As the market competition gets even more fierce and product technologies become increasingly homogeneous, it is getting harder to gain differentiated competitive edge. Just like I said, everybody has LiDAR. A lot of people are now doing battery swap, right? Everybody has L2 now. Right? New houses are great. Now Zeekr has their own like sort of resting lounges and all that kind of stuff. They poached a lot of employees from NIO to run Zeekr. So NIO has to constantly innovate and keep on going forward. We should not have a fluke mind or take any chances. Instead, we have to keep a sense of crisis. Observe and analyze the dynamics of the operating environment and competition landscape level headedly, so as to adapt and cope with the daunting challenges down the road. Yes, they need to be put in this kind of urgency mode that, we gotta keep on working forward and working hard and not slack off, because the competition is always behind us, chasing and getting closer and closer. When the going gets tough, we should be even more steadfast and confident about the future. Our confidence comes from our judgment on the trend. Smart EV has become one of the few highlights of global economy, and the pursuit of sustainable development has also become one of the few global consequences. Our confidence comes from our systemic innovations of products, services, and communities, our determined investment in core full-stack technologies centered around smart EV, and our decisive infrastructure deployment of NIO House, NIO Power, and NIO Service Center. Our confidence comes from the vision of becoming a user enterprise and our value-driven organization and outstanding teams. We are on the right side of history and in the right direction. As long as we stay focused on execution, we can achieve our goals. Staying focused on execution means working more agilely. The ever-changing market requires us to equip ourselves with agile mindset, process, and capabilities. Product experience team needs to dive deep into user needs more keenly and insightfully, Quickly respond to the user feedback in a closed-loop manner. Yes, yes, yes. R&D team needs to evaluate and review project progress at all times to identify issues and make corrections in a timely manner to avoid mistakes and to avoid errors with the car once it's in the hands of customers. User development and operations team need to make dynamic predictions on market demand to provide a timely and accurate planning basis on the industrialization team. Supply chain, manufacturing, and logistics team need to respond more quickly to market volatilities and secure supplies with sunk costs as low as possible. Yes, back in March, April, when China was suffering from this severe lockdown in Shanghai and all these other places, Chongqing, there was interior material that was missing and NIO couldn't get a hand on it, and that was impacting production. So this definitely cannot happen again in the future. Quality team needs to speed up the quality issue closed loop resolution to minimize losses as well as protect user benefits and product reputations. After sales and service teams need to respond to user demand more swiftly to improve user experiences. Administration and support teams need to provide suitable and handy support to business teams to enhance efficiency of business operations. Stay focused on execution means working more efficiently. In 2022, our team and organization continue to scale up, leading to many issues such as unclear role and responsibilities, unaligned objectives, inadequate process, and overlapping initiatives. So definitely there's going to be a lot of employees that might get cut off because their job is redundant, but make things more efficient. This is a good step forward. There is significant room for improvement when it comes to efficiency in 2023. We will face more workload, but the overall investment by the company will only increase slightly. Therefore, we have to tap into the potential internally. In particular, low efficiency organization, teams, processes, and projects need to be streamlined and optimized comprehensively. That is correct. In 2023, I will spend more time on efficiency improvement personally and would like to urge every colleague to support and join the efforts from the perspective of the company's overall interest, and would welcome all the constructive suggestions for me and management team on efficiency improvement. 2023 is a year of significance to us. We will deliver 5 new vehicles based on NT2 in the first half of 2023, while the R&D of NT3 will be in full swing. Of course, NT3, new motors, new chips, probably self-made chips, probably everything is going to be done in-house. We've been talking about this back like in 2020. Before I even took delivery of my vehicle, I interviewed a NIO owner who had close ties with the CEO, and he was talking about how NIO is going to work on their own chips because of, in the future they might get sanctioned, and this is to prevent that. So we're in the right direction. All the new strategic businesses will usher in key milestones, and the user deliveries and services in Europe will further accelerate. Of course, nice. Our performance in 2023 will directly determine our long-term competitiveness, so every one of us needs to pour our heart into it and go all out. Our journey is muddy marathon, so do not expect an easy road ahead in 2023. Let us all stay focused on execution, efficiency, improvement, and keep powering on. William Lee. Man, those are good words of encouragement. Of course, there's going to be tough competition, but NIO will prevail.